Wondubar Crafts. I am back to kind of give you guys a little update on the cover that I have been doing for the Create With Me on the Seneca Pond Crafts design team project. And last time you had seen that I had the opening for the center, and then I had both of these pieces laid out like that, and I was trying to figure out what to do, and I just wasn't completely feeling it. So I started taking things off, and I kind of threw this thing kind of down, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks like a little lattice, doesn't it? And it just went from there. So that's what I did. I put the lattice down here. I cut out, I found a picture online of some strawberries with the strawberry flowers. So I cut out some pieces and appliqued them on. So we've got the strawberry flowers, the leaves, a couple little strawberries, and then I said, well, golly, you can't just have that, right? So I ad-libbed and made some bigger strawberries with a nice vine up here, and this flower has come off and on, off and on, off and on, and I am dead set on using this flower, and I think it's going to go really good up there in that one corner up there. And then I thought, well, the whole theme is not about strawberries, right? It's honey and strawberries and blue jeans and eyelet lace and all that good stuff. So I was like, well, I gotta integrate honey somehow. So I had cut out a beehive with a little branch, and I laid it all out, and honestly, it kind of creeped me out. And not that it wasn't pretty, it's just I'm deathly allergic to bees. I'm actually an EpiPen, part of the EpiPen club, you know, so I don't know, it was wigging me out. So I said, well, I gotta figure out something. So I ended up doing a honey jar and put some eyelet lace on the top, so it looks like the lid of the mason jar here. And then I said, well, you know, honeycomb, I want something along those lines. So I was going to put a big honeycomb over here, and I was like, when I started cutting these things out, I was like, oh my goodness. Sorry about that. My Ubers were barking at the postman driving by, so. But anyways, I was like, cutting out all these little pieces, and I thought, there is just that is a lot of applique to have to put. So I decided to go ahead and just make some honeycomb flowers on there, and I think it comes out really good. But here's where I'm kind of having a little dilemma. This is going to be way too much yellow. Way too much yellow, I think. So what I did, let's see if I can find my top here. What I did was I cut some strips from some red, and I thought there's a lot of yellow, a lot of orange, a little bit of, you know, of white, plenty of blue, and I thought maybe this might help pull it together a little bit. And I have enough of this fabric to actually make a closure, like a wider closure. Either that or maybe like a red bandana or something. I don't know. You know, but I thought I had a red bandana. I have a blue one, I have a white one, a green one, a pink one, no red one. And I'm like, what? How do you have that many bandanas and not have a red one, right? So, but I thought maybe I'd turn on the camera a little bit and maybe do some piece in this, finish doing some more on this, because I think not only do I want to change that out, I've been pondering whether or not I have some extra leaves, and that one might be a little big. I don't know. Maybe like that. And then I was thinking do one more little flower right here, you know, but I don't sometimes these things, they just come together and the ideas just come, and then all of a sudden it's like, slow down. So let me go ahead and take this out, and I'll feed the red piece, the red fabric through it and see how it looks. And if that is good, then I'm not gonna hand sew it. I'm gonna machine sew it on there. And I was gonna slow stitch this, and after looking at all the applique that I've already done on here, and then all of the crochet on here already onto the blue jean fabric, I think it's just going to get lost in there. So I think I'm going to leave it and not slow stitch it, because I think there's enough pretty stitching and sewing on it already that sometimes if I did it, it just would make it would just go overboard, and it probably would get lost and too busy. So yeah, not feeling it. Not feeling it. Sometimes you just got to go with your gut. So I can always use that piece on something. Alright. Where is that little safety pin? I probably put it back. I did. I put it back in the jar. And my whole desk, since I have been sewing this, has just been, I don't want to work, crazy. I mean, I've got thread everywhere, fabric everywhere, lace, and it's like a massive clutter. And Amy, you're probably laughing at me going, ha ha ha, welcome to my world. And it is driving me bananas. So, alright, let's see. Which way is up? I think that way is up. Yep. That's what I'm going for. And maybe this will work a little better because the edges are, yeah, see, not as rigid as that ribbon. So it'll be a little bit quicker. So how was everybody? Or how is everybody, and how was your Mother's Day? I had a good time. We were going to go up to the Goodwill after we went to brunch, but we ended up, my niece works for a distillery up in Kansas City, and we ended up, they had a big Mother's Day event. So we went up there and got to do a tour of the distillery, and it was really cool. Because they're in like one of those old, the old horse stables that, you know, the tanners used to take care of the horses, and they load them up and go pick up supplies and deliver them all over town. And they're in one of those old, and it's like an old brick building, beautiful building. So we hung out there for a while, and then we ended up staying up there and doing dinner, and we did go down to the river market and walked around for a bit, and it downpoured on our heads, but we managed to get to cover in just enough time so we didn't get too soaked. Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot better there. And then I'm going to sew it so that this ruffle, this part is going to be on the book cover itself, but then the upper ruffle will just hang off the top up there. So keep that there, and I'm going to leave the length in there just in case I need to move it back or forth or whatever, you know. I think that's much prettier, and I think it ties it so much better, you know. And it is going to cover over the top of this flower and over this one, but that's okay. I'm alright with that. Yep, I think that's a lot better. I think this wouldn't have been so bad if if I didn't have all of this, it would have tied in better, but having that and then the yellow flower on there, the crocheted flower, too much. So yeah, I just got to, you know, sewing, and I was like, oh well, let me do this, and oh well, let me do that, and the next thing you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a full-blown canvas. Oh goodness. I only intended to do like 1 or 2 applique pieces, not the whole cover, but I love the way it's turned out, so oh well, it happens. Okay. Yep. It happens. Yeah, so I have been literally working on this cover since, well, since the last video. I shut off the video and uploaded it, and then I really got to looking, and I was just like, I'm not feeling this. Something's not pulling together, and I started pulling some other things out, trying to make it work, and it just wasn't working. And I said, you know what? Scrap it, start from, you know, start over, see what we get. And then it just all fell into place, so. And I love when that happens. Because this is more what I had imagined than, you know, than what it actually started out to be. And so just straighten this out a little bit. It's not all twisty. Alright, and then that one will go down here. So really what the book is gonna, let me pull my pen out here so I don't lose it. On the book cover. So, let me hold binder clips here. For my edge here, just to kind of see where everything is going to lay out on the cover. Once I glue it on there, and it's just a rough guide, just so I can look and see. It's kind of like looking at a, you know, stepping back from a canvas and looking at the painting and seeing what, you know, where are the details? Is there enough? Is it too much? You know. So, of course, this isn't, my clips are a little big. Oh, let me grab a couple of littler clips. Littler clips so I can see what it looks like when it bends over. There we go. So, like, that will be the front, and the spine, and the back. And I think that's really looking good. And let's see if we can maybe clip this on here just to see what it might look like with a little fringe up there. Of course, the clip's going to clip some of it down, but it will at least kind of give me an idea. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Of course, it's rough right now. Once it's sewn on there and it's actually glued to the book, it'll have a nice fringe on the top, one on the bottom. Well, let's take a look. And like I said, I don't know. I really want to kind of tie it together with this red polka dot fabric with a closure. I did think about getting going and getting a couple bandanas and feeding them through here, but I don't know. I don't know if they would be long enough, if I'd have to do even more. Yeah, I like that. So much better. That's what I'm going for, so. Alright, now, I'm thinking there's enough on there now. I don't think I need to put, like, extra on there because I did make some extra little flowers. So I thought, what if I added another flower here? I just don't want it to be too busy. You know, I want the eye to catch certain things, but not be so busy that it's, you know. I don't know, I think that's going to be way too much on there. Because after I sew it on and then do, you know, some embroidery on top of it, I don't know, I think that's going to be too much. Too much. So, take it off. And I can always, I ordered some little strawberry charms and some little bee charms. So I thought what I could do is maybe sew on a couple little bee charms, like up here maybe one over here, or somewhere like in there, and then a little strawberry charm or a little bee charm in here as well. And then I may or may not do a tassel for it. But I'm thinking a tassel might take too much away from, you know, if you leave the tassel on there, you're not going to see. I don't know yet. That's still all coming into play. So what are you guys crafting? What are you guys up to? You know, like I said, I've been working on this since, what, the day before? Was it last Friday? Thursday or Friday is when I did my last video. So that's how long I've been working on this thing. With the exception of Mother's Day, because I didn't work on it on Mother's Day. It's been a project for sure. But, you know, I know a lot of people say, well, the meat and potatoes are what goes inside of a book, right, or inside of the journal. And I will agree to some extent. You know, when I go to a bookstore, if I'm looking for something specific that is educational, I'm going to look for what's inside the book, not necessarily what the cover looks like. But if I'm looking for something that's entertaining, something that's fun, and something that's enjoyable, I look at the outside cover as well. So, you know, to me, making a junk journal it's the same thing. So I want to, you know, someone to be able to pick this up and say, oh my gosh, it brings back so many memories of, you know, this, and remember the blue jeans we used to wear, and the crocheted stuff, and all the eyelet lace, and, you know, bringing back those kind of childhood memories, and or new memories even, and then still have all that excitement inside the journal. So that's kind of what I'm going for. And I hope it's coming across. So I don't know. So let me, I'll go ahead and, I don't know if I want to wait and sew that, or go ahead and sew that on now. I'm going to go ahead and sew it on now, I think. So let me remark this so I know where it needs to go as far as sewing it. And then I can trim the edges of that. Yeah, I love these. Can't wait to get back into the kit though. Although all that, I've got some ideas I want to try out for some different kind of altered paper clips. Kind of the same thing, but just a collaboration of a couple different ideas together. And so it won't be anything like, oh, it's brand new, but just a collaboration, I think, of some different ideas, and do some pockets. And I think I'm going to add a couple things in the signatures that aren't already there, like, I don't know, I might do an envelope, a bag, some additional little pocket things like that in there. Okay, I don't need to mark down the sides too much. I just want enough to tell me that's where it ends. Sorry, I'm not trying to be out of camera. Alright. I did the craziest thing today, earlier. So, on my, like, second or third cup of coffee, I came up here to kind of finish up the ruffle on here, and I thought, oh, I want a little jelly belly, or jelly, you know. I have that little container that I had made, right, from Easter, and I put all my jelly bellies in there. And I was sitting at I turned around to sit at my computer and was watching some videos. I went to stick my hand in the jelly bean jar, or the jelly belly jar, and stuck my hand in a piping hot cup of coffee instead. Pa-ching! Hello, Denise. I was awake after that, that's for sure. That was crazy. And I couldn't do anything but laugh at myself. It hurt, but I could do nothing but laugh at myself because I was like, oh my gosh, really? Oh. Alright, let me go sew these on and I will be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and sewed that trim, that ribbon trim, on the top, and reposition the flower yet again just a little bit below. So I think that, other than sewing this on, that's it for the cover. And like I said, I'll just leave that in there so it'll help shape the ribbon a little bit, and I can kind of play with it a little bit and get it where I want it to sit right in those ribbon holder holes. So, but I think I'll do this off camera, and then the cover will be done, with the exception of maybe adding a few charms later when they come in. Still waiting for them in the mail. Other than that, the cover is pretty much done, guys. But thanks for hanging out and crafting along, or, you know, creating whatever it is that you're creating, and hanging out with me, taking the time. I appreciate it. Appreciate each and every one of you, and I want to say hi and welcome to all my new subbies, and I hope you guys enjoy what you see. And we'll be back next day or two to start working on some ephemera and stuff for the signatures. And until then, guys, plenty of hugs, love, and blessings. Mwah. Bye.